Hi everyone, I'm here to share my February layouts. No, I didn't get them done in February and just now sharing them. I actually started them, I believe, in February and just finished that kit up. All the layouts are from my February Counterfeit Kit Challenge. The inspiration kit was from Kits de Somni Love Notes kit from January 2014. And of course, February being the smallest or the shortest month of the year, I made the largest kit. I actually completed 25 layouts with this kit. I don't have, well, I take that back. I do have several whole sheets of paper left, but they were like extras that I threw in. So all the ones that I actually chose for the kit I used up, plus a few extras that I threw in or pulled into it. Anyway, let me get started. For each of these, because I did all of these layouts at crops, I started with a sketch. That's just what I find easier to do when I'm going to a crop. I just, have the sketch, and some of these I have where they're from. Like this is from Sketch and Scrap, and it was posted on 5/1, I'm guessing last year. Sketch and Scrap number 32. And if you were going to do it for their challenge, it was due by the 31st of May last year. So anyway, this is the first layout. It's called Priceless Memories. Several elements on here are pretty old. This My Mind's Eye title is very old. The journal paper behind this transparency is pretty old. These brads are pretty old. And then this metal piece down here, it was actually like one of those Making Memories long border strips, and I actually cut a piece off of it. I had one strip left, and I actually cut a little piece off of it to use in this layout. But everything on this layout was from my kit. I really was trying to use tons of older product, and I think, as far as cleaning from my stash and using up, like this frame here, I mean, gosh, man, those are old things. They're from My Mind's Eye from years ago. So anyway, there's the first layout that I created. I love that. She's saying, no more pictures, sweetie. She's really cute about that because I'm always taking pictures of her. That's my granddaughter, Shawnee. Next layout is this one. This is the date of the pictures that I pulled on there. It's created by Laura Whitaker for Stuck Sketches Blogspot. So I love the stack 3 photos, and it was kind of over to the side. So for mine, it's almost to the side. I have less space over here, so it's kind of flipped around a little bit. And I did a few different things. I did put my title in the middle, and which is Too Much of a Good Thing is Wonderful. I threw in some clock wood veneers, some chipboard embellishments, even a metal embellishment, some transparencies over here, an old journal tag, a chipboard piece here. I stamped on this one, and that's a bit of a transparency that I just added some little flat pearl shapes to. And this is one of those chipboard border strips that I actually just cut down a little bit for this layout. And that's my granddaughter Shawnee, my grandson Cameron, and then the baby here is my granddaughter Zoe, and my son Jason, and my daughter-in-law Misty. Next layout, this one is from, I don't know. I don't remember where this sketch came from. Anyway, for this one, I used my bits of 6x6 paper in there, and I cut them down to size here. This was, I think, one of my 4x6 papers here. And some of the 4x6 that I included in my kit, I actually cut down and made into like this doily here and this piece here, pinwheel here. Added on some wood veneers here and here. This is a cut that I made with my silhouette, and I cut it in white and just inked it with I want to say it was Lagoon maybe ink from Close to My Heart. Added in some of these epoxy stickers. Those were SEI, and then some more pearl embellishments. And that's just my granddaughter Zoe and I. Gosh, she was pretty close to a year old, and I don't actually, the photo was taken November 2013, so she was just over a year old in that picture. This one is a sketch from Scrap Much, and it's by Laura Whitaker. And here's the layout that I created. And I loved on the sketch where they have, I don't know if you can see it so great in the video, but they have like layers and upon layers. So I just kind of mimicked that and used like lots of 4x6. And they're actually ones that I cut things out of, but I still wanted to incorporate them. I hate to waste paper for some reason. So anywho, I just stuck them all back behind there, stapled them once I got to where I wanted it to be, and then started gluing everything down. For this one, I added this old, it's a die cut embellishment here. Laugh Today was cut with my silhouette, and I cut them in white and left them in white. I didn't ink them for this one. And then down here in the bottom, this is an older embellishment that I made several years ago. We went on a trip to Florida, and on that trip my granddaughter and I, Shawnee, we cut out tons and tons of these shapes before we left, and we just started putting everything together. And it had a sticker on there. I just peeled it off. I don't remember what it said now, but I just added this one because it was at Zoe's birthday party. A little bit of frame there, and another one of those doily pieces behind there. Another chipboard strip here, a paper strip here, pattern paper, different pattern papers there. And that one's that. This layout, the sketch was from Sasha Farina at sashafarina.com, and I've got sashafarina.paper.play Saturday sketch. That must be where the name of her blog. Anyway, so there's the sketch, and then this is what I did with it. I actually used some of those Martha Stewart tags here and here. That's washi tape, and then bits of pattern paper here and here, and washi tape here. Chipboard banner here, some flowers. That's one of the little bows that I made with just some ribbon. This is an old My Mind's Eye title. These are some old chipboard embellishments here that were already glittered. I just added a little the flower rhinestones, and those are Jenny Bolin. That old Making Memories, I believe it was, metal embellishment, and then some chipboard pieces, and I actually stamped those out, Cherish, Treasure, and Enjoy. And then I used another little metal bit right there. I think it was like a book plate design, and I chopped it up and to make it look more like a square embellishment, so it's that way. And that's that layout. Next layout, oops, let me turn it this way, is from Stuck Sketches Blogspot by Laura Whitaker. And here's how that turned out. I had that teacup piece of paper in there, and I just didn't know what to do with it, so I just used it as basically a border with one of the pieces of cardstock that I had in there. These are some really, some much older basic gray elements there. Another border strip here, chipboard border strip. These are just some clear stickers with the floral design on them. This is another bow that I made. This banner piece was on a punch-out page, and that old felt border there, man, that's pretty old, probably like 6 or 7 years old. And that's my son Jason and his wife Misty, and I actually stamped together us and XOXO on there. Botched it a little bit on the us part, but what do you do? Not going to change it now. I think once it's in the album, who's going to care, right? This sketch is actually from L's Studio Blogspot. Maybe that's where the other one was from as well, that I didn't know where it was from. It seems very familiar, like an L Studio one. Anyway, this is what I did with that. It incorporated several frames into it, so I pulled in an old My Mind's Eye frame, and then I used this acetate piece here with the border on it, some old metal paper clips, those old brads right here. I just punched them through, or broke off the brad portions, put them up on pop dots, and then put that old, it's a close to my heart, gold brad in the center there. Added an old Jenny Bolin butterfly up here, and just some random sheets of paper up there that I cut into banner shapes. That's a pretty old, you remember those little notebooks, the little journal books that would come, and they would have like 4 or 5 of each design. You know, I still have tons and tons of those, but they were the in thing at the time, and I remember buying every one that I came across. This one is actually from a 6x6 paper pad, so I just cut the pieces down, you know, and they join in the middle there, but no one can see. An old My Mind's Eye title spot as well. And that's both my granddaughters and myself at, this is Zoe's first birthday. Next one is page drafts, a page draft sketch, and I don't remember if this was from like CSI, because they do a lot of sketches for CSI for several places, but I may have got this straight from their blog. Anyway, this is the layout that I created. It had 2 photos on it and lots of strips here. So I just took some paper and some ribbons and made the strips there. And then this little cluster at the top here, I did this. This had some kind of Valentine's type saying on it, and I just covered it up with this little punch out shape, and it's one that a friend gave me, and she also had made this little 1 number, and it had a flower on it. I just peeled the flower off and put the little heart on. And I tried the whole stapling down of my metal embellishments. Not really that crazy about it, but you know, it works for this layout. These are just some little butterflies that I punched out with one of my punches and added bling, and they have little pearls in the middle, and then just bling tails on them. And then I can't believe I got another title out of that old pink alphabet that I have. It's crazy. I have used that and used that and used that, and I still have it, and I still think I can probably pull a title out of it. And I didn't even have to Frankenstein any of these. I even threw in a little epoxy embellishment here from an old SEI pack. This one, and it's so funny, I got to looking later, I've actually used this layout twice. I guess I liked it so well that I printed it out a second time. But it is from, this is by Laura Whitaker for Stuck Sketches. Either Stuck Sketches or Scrap Much. I've got both of them on here where I printed the sketch out, so I don't know. It's from one of them. But anyway, this background paper already had the sewn border around, and it had some kind of cluster here. I don't remember exactly what was on it now, but I didn't really want to use that, so I covered it. Here's a little bit left over and a little bit left over that you can still see that didn't bother me so much, since I had the red dot butterfly here and the red pieces here and the little bits of bling throughout. That didn't bother me, those little bits showing. Anyway, I had a couple of tags that I used up. That was a button that I clipped off the back part of it. Old Jenny Bolin butterflies, scrap pieces of paper. That was actually from my 6x6 pad, and I just cut those in order to fit. Another one of those doily punch outs that I made using an old die. I want to say it's a Quick Cuts die, but I'm not. It may be a Spellbinders. This is the title that I punched out, or sorry, not punched out. I cut out with my silhouette. Lost a little eye that went to it, so it got a little bit of bling. Then added that little ribbon that I made, ribbon bow. Those are so fun to make. Sometimes they're a little bit difficult to keep together because they want to pop apart, but I think they just add so much. And this little photo corner has been in my stash forever. Don't even remember. I want to say it's maybe an old Making Memories, but I'm not going to swear to that. This next one is from Scrap Much, and it's by Laura Whitaker, and you can see it's got a crisscross design on the top. It's got the border here and the scallops, and it's got tags and a couple of photos and flowers and things. And this is what I created with it. Basically, I kept the flowers and the square photos, and yeah, the border mats behind it and these borders, and I kept my title up here, but really that's I kind of varied a bit. I didn't really like the cross pieces up here because I had done that other layout, and that was just, for me, it was hard to do that because, you know, I'm pretty linear kind of girl. Tilting photos is still a bit hard for me to do, but I'm learning to be better about that. Anyway, just added tons of stuff on this one. These are the SCI papers from the original papers that I pulled. This is an old My Mind's Eye, as are these border strips, the chipboard border strips. That's an old Thickers there, added in the little wood veneer. And I actually put a little gold dress on this little Tinkerbell girl here. I wish I'd have done some wings. If I'd have thought about it, I would have. This is an old, it's like that, like coaster board that SCI is really good about doing a lot of their embellishments with. It's pretty light, but it still has some dimension to it. And then this is an old chipboard piece there from My Mind's Eye. That old metal embellishment from Making Memories from years ago. Threw in a couple of random little buttons and the bird veneers, a couple of flare, as well as these old chipboard floral embellishments. I just can't believe, the more I got to the end of the kit while I was at a crop this last weekend. I was at a retreat, and when I got to the bottom of the kit and I didn't have any more solid pieces of paper, I thought to myself, oh man, I don't want to quit. I still have so much to use in this paper, or in this kit, that I can still make more layouts if I just had more solid paper. Anyway, this is an Allison Davis sketch, and it's from 6/21/13 off her blog. I think it was one of, you know, she used to do those weekly, or no, it was once a month she would do a sketch, and then she had all these designers doing them for her. Love, love, love when she did that. Gave me so many great ideas, but then she changed it up again, and, you know, life got in her way, and, well, you know, who am I to say anything about life getting in the way? Anyway, what I created was this. I kept the background border pieces, as well as these. I added a couple more because hers had stitching on it, and I didn't want to stitch on it. I was feeling pretty lazy. So what I did was I just added 5. I added the blue in there to just give it a little bit of contrast instead of all the peachy pinks. And I had a few little blue embellishments that I wanted to throw in as well. This one I used lots of random bits here in this cluster, as well as here and here. I have chipboard embellishments, I have enamel dots, I have these old word tags, I have a brad that was just random and left over. This is an embellishment, or both these are, that I created to mimic ones that were in this kit. And tons of chipboard pieces here, and an old metal rim tag there with the vellum in the center. More enamel dots. This is a brad that was a star. I don't remember the company that came from, but it was so pretty. Enamel pieces here. And I love the way this came out. Not necessarily much different from the sketch, but to me it feels so much different. This one is actually, oh, let me do this one last since it's a 2-page, and I'll have to kind of zoom out so you can see it a little bit better. These are, well, no, let me show you this one, because if I don't, then where I start the retreat photos. I may have to just show it to you in bits. This is a Scrap Much sketch, and you can see it has 5 photos with lots of little banners. It's got a doily piece here and butterflies there and there with the journaling. And so this is what I created. Let me just move that apart or across. And I'll start with this one. I added a sticker here. These are old SEI epoxy shapes. Lots of random things. I use this alphabet again, and I actually did have to Frankenstein a little bit to get that to work. This is an old Miss Elizabeth metal rim tag here. Jenny Boleyn, I keep wanting to call her Jilly. Jenny Boleyn butterfly, and this is an embellishment that I made with the doily and the shape there with some of those acetate hearts there. This border strip is actually one that came from close to my heart, and then all these were just random bits of scraps that I had at this point when making this layout. And the second page, instead of doing any journaling up here, I just used another one of those old My Mind's Eye embellishments. And this one is more like a little saying. It's a Maya Angelou saying, and so I just put that up there along with some random brads and those heart buttons that I threw in. And this is another piece of that that border from close to my heart, and tons more of the banners made from scrap paper, more stickers there and there. And this old Making Memories badge there, or not badge, metal bit. I think it's like an eyelet or something. I popped it up on foam dots to stand it up because I can't stand setting eyelets. So at the retreat, I made a total of 26 layouts, and this is where I start. These were all the ones that I made at the retreat. I finished out my February kit and my March kit, but these are the remainder of, I think I got the other 2 done, or the other February layouts were done in February, March, and April at crops that I went to. And so these were all done this weekend at a scrapbooking retreat that I went to. But this sketch is from the Allison Davis blog, and it's from 10/21/13. I love this that you can get. I love her sketches a lot because you can get so many photos on them, and you can follow her embellishment style, like using stars or stitching or whatever, or you can choose to go your own way. And it's a great basis for how to put your embellishments along with how to put your journaling or your photos, and you can change it out however you like. So for this layout, I put a piece of washi tape along this edge as well as this twine. I took an old metal rim tag, which it didn't have a center in it. I just had some random bits that I had picked up on clearance somewhere, and so I took a piece of scrap paper and threw in there. I did get a new punch from Stampin' Up, and it's this scalloped edge here, and it's got the little tiny scallop on the inside, and I love this border punch. I used it last year at the retreat that I went to. My friend had it, and so I've been meaning to buy it, and then Stampin' Up! Came out with their retired list the other day, well, a couple of weeks ago now, about what all product was going to be retiring, and that was one. So I immediately sat down and ordered it right then and got it in the day before I left for the crop, and so love that. And I've used it quite a bit already. Just added in some stickers, some embellishment, or some enamel dots, chipboard. This is a My Mind's Eye title that says girl, and I've got these little pearl embellishments that are popping off all over the place. I added in a title there, some letter stickers there for Sweet Girl, and brought in that blue down here, here, and here. Silver basil paper there with the that shine to it. Another one of those old journal pieces of paper. This is a chipboard element that came with the paper collection that I chose, and a bow that I made. And another, this heart down here is also from all three of the hearts on this layout are from the paper that I chose, this SCI collection here. It came with that collection. This layout is I used an L Studio sketch, and this was the first night. You know, these first layouts are ones that I made the first night that I was at the sketch or at the crop, and I played a lot with my mist that night. I did some stamping that night. Really tried to layer up some papers and just have fun with it while I was there. Used this old metal bit from, I want to say, Making Memories. It was the last one that I believe it's the last one that I had. I had tons of these with all different kind of words on them, and I think that's the last one. I may be wrong, but I really believe that is. But that's my title, Dream. You can see my granddaughter Zoe and my husband are both sound asleep. I stamped on here, there. I stamped this ticket on a piece of paper and then cut it out. I used my border punch down here. I added lots of little pearl embellishments. I added some washi tape in there and there. These were Tim Holtz grunge board embellishments, and I've kind of used them sparingly only because they smell so horribly bad. I love them, I love the concept of them, but I hate the stink of them. And so, but now that I have them sprayed with mist, and I've got 3 different colors of mist on there, and then 2 different colors on the swirls. On the hearts there's 3 different colors, and on the swirls there's 2 different colors. Now that they've been sprayed, they don't stink to me. Use that old My Mind's Eye quote there, and I covered up whoever the quote was from with another little metal piece of embellishment. Here, put a little piece of acetate with the design on it, also very old My Mind's Eye, and this is actually a frame, an old My Mind's Eye frame. I threw in tons of frames with this kit, and I actually got a lot of them used this time. I think I ended up with 1 left over. This one is a sketch from Stuck Sketches, and you'll see my sketches typically come from the same spots because, well, you know, if it's good and I like it, well, I keep going back. So this was the start of what the layout originally looked like. You can see it had a shorter piece of pattern paper behind it and smaller photos here and lots of white space. Yeah, I'm not a very big white space kind of girl, and so this is what I created. I had cut this border strip out here and didn't use it. I was going to twirl it up and try and make a flower with it, and it didn't work out for what I needed it to, so I just kept it in my kit, and well, here it is now. This is an old My Mind's Eye die cut piece, and it has these little flowers on it, and I just added a couple of little extra flower pieces there and some bling, an old Jenny Boleyn butterfly, and then I have a sticker back here that was just a random flower sticker. This is one of those clear dots that I got from Hobby Lobby that I put pattern paper behind here and here to make my own flare embellishments. Whoops. Then the bird was just a raw chipboard, and I sprayed it with my glimmer mist, and I want to say glimmer and Heidi Swap mist, and it took on the grunge board didn't take very long when I sprayed them with mist. I mean, they were dry relatively quickly, but this plain cardstock, oh my gosh, or not cardstock, chipboard, it took forever. I got a heat tool after it, and I, dried and dried and dried, and still it took forever. Anyway, I had this bright gold doily, and I wanted to use it someplace, but I didn't want it to be like front and center, so I really hid it down. There's 3 different bits back here. This is a bigger journal tag here. I put a flower here, and then the smaller journal here, paper here, so that I could put my title. and it already came with "Here's the Story," and then I put "My Hair" with 2 different fonts. These are old Jenny Boleyn flower embellishments there. That's a bow that I made. These are old embellishments. I want to say they're maybe from Recollections. And then I actually I had a great huge photo corner in my kit that I threw here, and then I had a couple of smaller ones that I added here. Scrap pieces of paper along here, which is always good. I feel like, you know, I'm getting the most for my money when I'm throwing in those scraps. And this is actually one of those, I want to say it's a Jenny Boleyn sticker. It's pink with a clear background so you can see it. And I also, this background paper, I thought to myself, how in the world am I going to use that, and what am I going to use it for? But it worked out really well. I kept a little bit of it showing, but most of it's been masked by the other pattern papers. And here's the sketch that I reused. Like I said, I love this sketch, and it's from Stuck Sketches. And I just love the motion of it. I don't know. What can I say? I love it. It's got a lot of white space on it. I'm not that crazy about white space, so this is what I created. I went with the general feel of the longer pieces of paper here and here, which none of these were that long. I had to really chop them up behind here. They're like cut to here, and then I have little pieces over here because I was, you know, down to the bottom of the pile of scraps, you know, in these colors by then. This is a piece that for the kit, I didn't have any cork paper or anything when I made the kit, when I put the kit together back in February, so I found this piece of paper in my stash and thought, well, I'll use it. So I cut all these little chevron pieces out of it, and then thought, oh, that really turned out cool. I think I'll keep it. And so I threw it in with the kit with everything else, and thought, well, you know, I'll use it with this one. It adds enough of a contrast to match the brown of the bark from the pictures. This dimensional element here, is actually one piece that I just chopped it all up and made it fit. I added some bling to this old chipboard piece here. Oh, there's a flower that doesn't belong there. Oh, and I don't think I can pull it off now because it's stuck pretty hard. Oh yeah, you can't tell much. Maybe up here? Could be. Who knows? Here's one down here. It doesn't really feel like anything came off there. It'll work fine. But I had those. Those are either Recollections or Paper Studio. These are all bits from Basic Gray. They came in a chipboard pack, and you know, they've been in my stash for a long time, and I finally got around to using them. My Joy was cut out with my silhouette, and I just spray inked it, and I think I have 2 or 3 colors on that. And then that's just a little, it was initially a border strip of these little birds that I have cut them up and used them on different layouts over the years. Anyway, there's that one. Love that sketch. This one is from Elle Studio. Love their sketches there, and again, this is one that I've used, but I did it a little bit differently. I added, instead of using the acetate behind here as just that and the frame, I actually used 3 frames. So I have one that looks like silver here, this one with the orangey red, and this pink one here. And this is a printable that I printed out and I journaled on, but I printed it on photo paper. I thought I was being so smart and going to use up this last little bit of photo paper that I had. Yeah, even with a slick writer, it's hard to write on those. So anyway, added some little bits here and there, a chipboard embellishment in the center of the camera, only because I scratched it as I was putting it down, and there's like a heart shape in the middle of the camera anyway, and I scratched it, so I needed to cover it. So I did with that. Added a little bit more blue over here with this old frame, which, you know, had to have tons of those years ago, and then balanced the blue out up here with that little bit of scrap there. This came with the SCI products, This is just an old chipboard shape, and I want to say it's my mind's eye. That was a random little star that I had thrown into the kit. Another ribbon that I made over here, or another bow that I made, and this was just a little bit of metal embellishment that I had in my stash that I threw in. Used another one of those heart buttons there, some enamel dots, and an arrow there, wood veneer arrow, and called it done. Some more of that flower ribbon. I just love that. It's from close to my heart. And then I didn't want to stitch because, well, you know, I was being lazy. So I found some in my in everything that I threw into the kit. I found some rub-on stitches, which I used here, and also some zigzag rub-ons that I used there. And that's that one. This one is from Stuck Sketches. Again, a lot of white space, and I'm not a big fan of that much white space, so this is what I created. This is my friend Rayla, and she's my scrapping buddy. She comes over, or I go to her house, and we scrap a little bit now and again. But for this, I used some chipboard flowers that I had, some of those basic gray bits for leaves, and then this piece was basic gray, an old tag here, an old piece of acetate there. I used one of those cute little bags. I didn't put anything in it, I just used it. And I used this alphabet. I want to say it came with the SEI products, and then some letter stickers. And then I actually put a clear piece of border tape down here. It's a sticker border. You can hardly see it. It's got a little bit of a silver whitish sheen to it. And then this is a sticker here that I added some bling to, and another one of those bits that, you know, I made my own flair with. Lots of random bits on this one, but I love how it turned out. Oh, there's a sticker down here too that has like a yellow flourish, corner flourish. And so there's that one. This one is from Scrap Much, and it's a sketch by Laura Whitaker. I guess I really love her sketches. Anyway, so there's what I created. My pictures are much larger than the ones in the sketch, but I captured a photo of, this is the card my husband bought for me, and this is the card that I made for him. And so I had a bit of that gold, different gold doily that I threw in there. Just this old resin shape, as well as this old metal piece. These metal pieces here. This heart here has been in my stash, no kidding guys, for probably 15 years. From back when I used to swap a lot, I got it as part of a swap, and I was digging through my stash the other day, kind of purging some of the stuff out of my red color bin, and I came across it and thought, oh, I need to use that. These red hearts I love. This is an old My Mind's Eye quote that came from, those three words came from the SEI products, and that you are mine, I am yours, and then it's a quote, and I can't see, oh, Shakespeare. I used some washi tape on here. I used my new border punch again, and metal here, metal flower here, an epoxy heart here, and epoxy dots there. That's an old ribbon slide. You know, you thread your ribbon through it and you could slide it along or glue it down or whatever, but I have several of those left, and I threw a couple into this kit, and so I finally used one of them there. But I do like how this turned out. Not the best picture of my husband and I, but oh well. We don't take many photos anymore. I mean, hell, we've been married for over 30 years, 31 years. It'll be 32 years in July. So, you know, if you get a photo of us together, it's probably fairly random. Anyway, this is a sketch from Let's Get Sketchy. And again, lots of white space on it. So, of course, I blow everything up so that I can not have quite as much white space. I used a craft background and cut this one down a little bit, this pattern paper down just a bit to go on top of that. I used lots of scraps here, and this is one of those 4 or 6x6s. threw in a little washi tape, threw in a sticker here, added some wood veneer here, and an everyday kind of wonderful. That is one of those My Mind's Eye title pieces. Then I threw in some metal embellishments here, some little brads, and flowers, and all of these rub-ons are here. Those are all rub-on flowers. And you can see in the sketch there was one flower here and a multitude down there. And so I kind of did a multitude of both places, though I did use the bigger one here as far as the metal embellishment went. But I really like, I wish I'd have thought about it a little bit more and done my journaling on a journal card itself, because I feel like it's kind of washed out here with the red on red. You can't really see it. And that's an old photo corner, this long one here. That was on a sticker sheet that I had, that I've had forever. And then I added a green little photo corner there. Ooh, I'm getting close to the bottom of this stack. This sketch is from Scrap Much, and it's again by Laura Whitaker. I love how this was, again, a lot of white space for me, but the basic concept of the sketch to me goes across the page. So that's kind of what I tried to do with this layout, and just went across the page. Near or far pizza is a universal language to children. And I've got a couple other layouts that I've done with the kids with pizza, but my niece's children, she's got 3 little girls, they have never made homemade pizza. And so her oldest is 8, and then she has 4, and then of course a baby who is right at 1. And then my grandkids, Cameron is, he was 11 when we went on this vacation, and Shawnee was 7 when we went on this vacation. And so, my grandkids, every time they come to my house, they seem to make pizza. That's one of the staples that I always have the fixing for in the pantry, because kids love pizza and kids love to make their own pizza. And so that was one of the days when we had, it rained in the afternoon when we were on vacation in Florida, and you have to come up with some kind of craft activity during those times, because you can almost count on you're going to have a rain shower at least once a day while you're there, or we always have. And so every day I had a craft activity planned for them. We were there for an entire week, and one of those craft activities were like a rainy day, activity, and this was one of those days, which was making pizza. And I cut off most of the hand portion here, but those kids, they made their own pizzas. Then I put them in the oven. They stood around this oven door and they watched that pizza bake, and when it came out, they were so anxious to dig in. They didn't care if they burned their mouths on it. They were so anxious. But anywho, on with the layout. I just thought that was so funny. They'd never made their own pizza before, and they had such a blast doing it. This layout, I used tons of scrap paper and border strips, or branding strips that were left over. And so I had these little hearts here that I wanted to add in to one of the layouts, and I figured these photos were so dark that I could get away with some black embellishments. So I added the hearts here, a Jenny Bolin butterfly here and here, and then a metal flower here, and then this it says love. It's a brad that says love that I've broken the back off of, so it's just a little metal flare there now. I stamped a heart here. I stamped mad about you, but this paper is kind of debossed where the lines of the globe are, and so it landed right there on that. I should have paid closer attention and guessed that would happen and moved over my stamp, but it's okay. I had this chipboard piece in my collection for a long time, and it says create, and I just love that I was able to finally use it because the kids created their own pizza. Next layout is based on this sketch, and it's from Scrap Much, and it's Laura Whitaker. And this is one of those ones that I had a great time doing because I sprayed this title, and I actually used 3 sprays, but the last one that I sprayed on there was actually a gold spray, so it kind of like overwhelmed the other colors. I had brown, or not brown, yes, brown and green that I sprayed it with because I knew my background was going to be green. So I sprayed green, I sprayed brown, and then I thought I hit it with just a little bit of gold, but I guess the little bit went a long way. So it looks like a really greenish gold title. Anyway, I cut it from my silhouette, and it says, "Anywhere you are, this is my happy place." And it's all about my husband. I used these old epoxy hearts here that were from close to my heart, and I just put a scrap of paper, I chopped it up and put it behind there. These are all scrap bits of paper that I used here. I used some washi tape, I used some gold embellishments here and here, I used some black sticker embellishments. That's a ribbon that I made. I used some enamel dots. I stamped here. I stamped "I adore you," I stamped "mad about you," and I stamped "truly, madly, deeply," and that's a sticker embellishment, and then an old photo corner up here that I also got in a swap years and years and years ago. But those are the kind of things that you hang on to because, you know, you can always use them at some point, so I never got rid of it and then forgot about it. So anyway, there's that layout. This layout, the next one is the sketches from L Studio, and I don't think my layout looks much like this sketch. Anyway, I started off and it had frames around here, so that's pretty much the only thing to me that goes along with the sketch, other than the use of what looks like washi tape. And I kind of reversed it here. I put my frames over here. There's two separate frames there. This is like one of those file folders bits, or maybe a card bit, because it's folded here in the middle. It's scored and folded there. I just stretched it out there. This is an old basic gray swirly here, and I added in some old red mini brads, used some more rub-ons here and added in some bits of bling. This is a sticker that I popped up, another sticker that I popped up, and then this is one of those old Making Memory, or My Mind's Eye title squares. This is an acetate. I found an image online someplace and I loved it, and it had that bokeh look to it, and I thought, oh, I'm going to print that out on acetate. And I did. I love how it looked, but it's been sitting in my stash for a while and I haven't used it. Added in some washi tape. Another one of those phrases, quote phrases from My Mind's Eye. Used a random brad. These were actually on the ends of paper clips from Basic Gray, I believe, and I just, you know, pull the paper clips off and use those bits. Used some more of those glittery hearts. And this one will go opposite the one with my husband, where it says "You Are the World," I think on his. So these will go side by side in an album. But as you can see, I mean, really, I don't think it looks much like the original sketch, but, you know, it worked for me. This one was the last one that I did one night, and I was really tired. It was about 3 o'clock in the morning. And I thought, oh, I just need to crank out one more layout. And to me, it looks very drab. I don't have anything shiny on it. I was looking at it today going, man, I need to bling this up somehow. But it's an L Studio sketch. And this is what I came up with. But of course, you know, I guess, you know, we don't necessarily need shiny things on boy layouts. But yeah, I think we do. I think we need shiny things on everyone's layout. These are some of those chevron pieces that I cut out from that piece of paper that I used earlier. These are really old stickers from Close to My Heart, and I only had 2 of them left, and I'm glad I finally got to use them. These are old, I don't remember the manufacturer now that these words came from, but they're on a punch-out page. This was on, these 2 were on a punch-out page, as was this from that craft collection that I pulled a lot of elements in from. Just a scrap piece of paper here that I actually cut. This was a 6x6 piece of paper. I cut it down, and so out of that I made this little scrap that I wrapped twine around. This was a scrap piece of paper, as was this. And my last tiny bit of that blue color I added into this layout, only because these both have blue in them and I wanted to incorporate it one more time. Well, there's a blue hanger here. I guess I could have left it alone, but this is my grandson Cameron having the best time in the swimming pool when we were traveling. Anyway, that's it for the February kit. I'll come back and do a layout share of my March kit. But first I want to do another video with my Kill-A-Kit video. Anyway, thanks for watching, and you can catch all the videos on my blog at juliesjournaloflife.blogspot.com. I should have those posted within the next day or two. Bye-bye.